Is the crypto market getting ready to bounce? Is Bitcoin and all markets really getting ready to bounce? That is going to be the topic of today. And actually, to just spoil the surprise and front load this information in the very near term, despite the title of this video, which is just a question. No, I don't think that Bitcoin is actually ready to bounce exactly from this current point where it's at without first having a short-term downside move. But things are setting up in the background for what I believe is likely to be a pretty large bounce, maybe even a reversal as well, if you do want to be more long-term bullish. But before we get into that, I should actually let you know that we're going to be doing the crypto school again next week with those live stream sessions, both on Tuesday and then Friday, I believe the days are. And anyone who has used the Bluffin affiliate link here, which you can find in the description below, can join for free, which also will award you actually some cash back on all of your trading activities there. So it essentially amounts to a fee reduction. In fact, it's not even 10% anymore. It's 15% applied retroactively to everyone. I'm going to be looking to do the same probably later this year, get even bigger discounts. Anyways, okay. Yesterday, Bitcoin did not have CPI, but yesterday we had CPI, and not really much happened, to be fair. Bitcoin's still playing between the 200 simple, that white moving average to the upside, versus the blue 377 exponential moving average to the downside. Do you think that I can spend a lot more time within there? And seeing as it is getting rejected from that 200 simple, next move likely to the downside. And as all higher term time frame stochastic momentum continues to the downside here, I do need to be, skeptical of a short term bounce before these sort of things reset. And more importantly, I just lean towards another short-term downside move as long as all of these are positioned to the downside. So daily time frame here is downside angled as long as Bitcoin's below 84,800, which right now trading more than $2,000 below. I mean, sure, I could reclaim that by end of day, but when I see the 2-day time frame also freshly about to cross down, if it closed below about the same number, 84,300, I look at that as a signal that short-term things probably do try again to the downside. 3-day time frame will also continue down below 81,300, which Bitcoin's actually above right now. 5-day time frame obviously down below 89,000. Weekly, again, also down below 100,000. 10-day also down below 105. That one just continues to go higher, it seems like. The bi-weekly also down below 100, and the monthly also down below 101 or 102 there. So, all of these do make me concerned on the higher term timeframes, or at least, not looking for Bitcoin to reverse exactly from where it's at right here. However, like I said at the beginning of this video, things are lining up in the background, and I really am starting to look at this, at this area here, around Bitcoin's current lows, maybe slightly lower, but not too much further lower, as likely, a really big bounce area. I mean, we already have seen a pretty strong bounce from these March lows at 76 all the way up to almost 85, nearly a $10,000 bounce. But I'm talking about, like a probably even a bigger one than that. Bitcoin maybe even gets back up towards 88 to maybe even 90. Definitely possible here, but we can see that all major markets are kind of within the same region. And whenever I see everything in concert like this, it's usually going to mean that they're all going to play in about the same way. So Bitcoin, again, coming off of these two major moving averages, pay special attention to this blue one down here. That's a 377. And you'll notice that both Bitcoin's on it. CME is actually above the 200 simple right now. However, when we go to NASDAQ futures, same thing, operating between these two major moving averages, coming off of that 377. We have seen a few bounces along this in prior bull markets as well. Same thing for SPY futures, coming in between these two major moving averages. This is the time, at least in my opinion, to be looking for a bounce. Not only that, but just for traditional markets and giving away my own long-term investment strategy there. We've seen SPY come down 10%. We've seen NASDAQ futures come down 15%. There are some really good studies that have been done that show anytime we've seen more than a 10% reduction, especially in the major indices for US stocks, well, within about a year from then, typically up a lot more. So, I as a long-term stock market investor, I literally just bought this yesterday. So, and I'll buy it, if it goes down another 5 to 10% as well. These are, again, very long-term, long positions, but I do understand that a lot of people actually quite interested in that. So that's why I'm bringing it up a little bit more in recent times. Anyways, okay. So yes, all major markets coming off of these major moving averages, even the IBIT Bitcoin ETF here for BlackRock. By the way, massive gap up here at around 49 and a quarter, probably equates to like 88,000 bucks on Bitcoin. So, does Bitcoin run these lows one more time and then bounce? I think that's more likely, yes. I believe we drew these. Yeah, I believe we drew these. No, wait, where is it? Yes, I believe we drew this LARP line right here yesterday. I'm still looking for about the same thing to happen. I'll explain why, however, and why I do think that this ultimately resolves in an opportunity. So, if Bitcoin were to play out something like this, come down to the current lows, maybe slightly lower on a closing basis. Again, I don't want to see it deviate too much from about 75,000 bucks if it does. But if that does happen, then guess what? On the daily time frame here, you're going to have a chance to have 3 drives of bullish divergence. 3 drives of bullish divergence is usually good enough to get a real reversal. And at that point, I'd be looking for Bitcoin to pop up to deep 80s, maybe even 90, maybe even flips the overall trend. Of course, I should also reiterate, my main thing here, I will be bearish on Bitcoin, or skeptical on Bitcoin at least, as long as it's below that early March high at 95,000 bucks. If it can reclaim there, okay, get ready for 100 plus, and bull market is back fucking on, baby. But until then, everything does favor in terms of trend the bears. So do need to be respectful of that. But like I said, there are signals forming in the background here. They're not there just yet, but you can see them slowly coming around. So there's already 2 drives of bullish divergence here on the daily time frame. If Bitcoin does come back down again and, close on the current lows or slightly lower, you will have that 3rd drive of bullish divergence alongside 2 extremes on daily BBWP. That should at minimum be good for a very, 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 very big bounce, tradable bounce, as I like to say. On top of that, on top of these bull divergences that are starting to formulate, I did want to update on the 5-day HPDRO. So if you haven't viewed the last few videos, this might not make too much sense, but the 5-day HPDRO for Bitcoin, which represents directional volatility, has actually been a pretty damn good gauge in terms of finding major lows within, in this case, a bull market. And anytime that we've seen it come down to where it's currently at right here, a little bit less than -50, which only happens a handful of times during bull markets. Well, these have correlated with basically the lows, all of the major lows that we've seen since this bull market began. So that does seem to rhyme for this current cycle. And as it stands right now, keeping in mind that the next 5-day time frame doesn't close just yet, it'll close in another 3.5 days. But as it stands right now, it is once again getting a positive slope, coming back above that sort of critical region, if you want to call it that. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that if you are bullish and you don't think that this market cycle is over, then you really should not expect too much lower than where it's currently at right now, if at all. Again, I could easily see it come down to like 70,000 bucks, but wouldn't be expecting much lower than that. Again, that is if it is indeed a bull market. Of course, in bear markets, it can go much lower than that and stay lower than that for quite some time as well. So it might even be a cause for concern that this one already has but gone lower than all previous lows that we have seen throughout this current cycle. But with it getting a positive slope right here, I do think that it actually has a chance. And my personal opinion is that, look, if Bitcoin's bullish, like the low should be basically in or very, 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 very close to in terms of price. Like I said, I wouldn't be expecting, much below 70,000 bucks. If Bitcoin's bearish, then obviously, then it's just fucking down. Don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Anyways, yes, okay. On that note, I did want to bring up something just a little bit newer here. We have spoken about it like much further in the past, but I'll bring it up right here. This is the Bitcoin production cost oscillator. Actually, shout out to my man, Henry Weinecker, for bringing this back to my attention because I completely forgot about it for a while. But I wanted to point something out here that, alongside many other things as well, has been a really good top signal for prior cycles, and we have not seen it during this current cycle. And that is another reason why I hold on to a little bit of hopium. There's just many things that I look for on the very high term timeframes for Bitcoin, and a lot of fundamental things as well that have not seen the traditional signals that you see during, the end of a cycle. And for this one, the Bitcoin production cost oscillator, the signal here is that all prior market cycle tops, I'm talking about 2021, 2017, 2014 over here, have seen the Bitcoin cost, production cost oscillator in that red zone, as you can see here. And as it stands right now, Bitcoin, or the production cost oscillator, I should say, has been in the green zone since May of 2024. So again, just another thing, like it makes me consider, maybe I should be a little bit more on the long-term bullish side for Bitcoin, at least for now. So yeah, I mean, that's I guess what I would be thinking about that. Anyways, on top of that, my own personal, I guess, system that I'm looking for potentially long-term long positions, still needs to be met. What I'm looking for right here is that hash ribbons indicator to fire off a buy signal. It is projecting that buy signal to come in 10 days. Again, I don't trust that, that projection that much, because you do see it float around a lot in terms of where current price action is. So that can change, at a moment's notice, both for the better or for the worse. But if and when that does happen, that's where I say immediately, okay, now I can actually start to plan for a potential long-term long position, not because I'm going to enter exactly when that happens, but because I will have a very obvious area of risk management for a position. And, if things do spend a little bit of time coming sideways and down from there, that would be my opportunity. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Also, of course, I'd want to see one of two other things in alignment with that as well. One of them would be, of course, a third drive of bullish divergence here on the daily time frame. If I saw those two things together, great. I'm very interested then. And the other thing would be, and this is probably not going to, it's very unlikely that this does happen first, but a silver cross on the daily between the 21 and the 55 here. Or if Bitcoin could just trade back above those March highs, that would also do it for me here too. But, you can see how all these moving pieces are kind of outlined in the background. So let's just draw a very quick LARP line here for all the people who have made it all the way through this very long and arduous 12-minute video. Again, I think it's going to be, or I guess my LARP line already has gotten it. Yeah, I think it's going to be something like this. If it is going to be bullish, if it's going to be bearish, you're just going to see it fucking fall through the floor and make significantly new lows, probably below $70,000. But my general disposition is, if you're bearish, you're looking for downside moves more in the short term. If you're bullish, you're probably not looking for like major upside moves in the short term. That's still more of a medium or long-term thing, I suppose, here. But things are shifting in the background. They're not quite there just yet. I'll continue to update on this very long thread of analysis that we've been having since Bitcoin broke down in late February. And yeah, I'll also let you know what I'm doing during those times as well, for better or worse. Could very well be that I'm completely fucking wrong, but that is what it is, man. Anyways, I'll be signing off on that note. As always, I want to wish everyone the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.